a WikiVidi documentaries production. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Enjoy. 2019 Formula One World Championship. The 2019 FIA Formula One World Championship is a planned motor racing championship for Formula One cars which would be the 70th running of the Formula One World Championship. It is recognized by the governing body of international motorsport, the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, as the highest class of competition for open-wheel racing cars. The championship is due to be contested over a number of Grands Prix held in different countries throughout the world. Drivers and teams are scheduled to compete for the titles of World Drivers' Champion and World Constructors' Champion respectively. The 2019 championship is also scheduled to see the running of the 1000th World Championship race, which would be hosted in China. Team changes. Red Bull Racing signed a memorandum of understanding that would see the team end its 12-year partnership with Renault and switch to Honda power units. In doing so, Red Bull Racing would join sister team Scuderia Toro Rosso in using Honda power after Scuderia Toro Rosso joined the Japanese manufacturer in F1 Vertical Bar 2018. Neither team would be recognized as Honda's official factory team under the terms of the agreement. Driver changes. Multiple image vertical bar align right vertical bar direction vertical bar image 1 Daniel Ricciardo 2015 Malaysia.jpg vertical bar width 1120 vertical bar image 22016209185746 2016 07 27 Champions for Charity Sven 1DX0219 DV3P 4812 Mo2.jpg vertical bar width 2120 vertical bar foot Daniel Ricciardo is set to leave Red Bull Racing and take the place of Carlos Sainz Jr. at Renault. Daniel Ricciardo is scheduled to leave Red Bull Racing after 5 years with the team to join Renault. Ricciardo's agreement with the team is that he is to replace Carlos Sainz Jr., who has been on loan to the French manufacturer from Red Bull's driver development program. Sainz did not have his deal with Red Bull renewed and will to move to McLaren to replace two-time World Drivers' Champion Fernando Alonso, who had earlier announced that he would not compete in Formula One in 2019. Alonso's 2018 teammate Stoffel Vandoorne is also due to leave McLaren, with McLaren's test driver Lando Norris being promoted to replace him. Ricciardo's drive at Red Bull Racing is scheduled to be taken by Pierre Gasly, who has been competing for Scuderia Toro Rosso since making his first Formula One start at the 2017 Malaysian Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen is due to leave Ferrari and return to Sauber, with whom he had started his career in the F1 Vertical Bar 2001 season, with Raikkonen's place at Ferrari being filled by Sauber's Charles Leclerc. Raikkonen will be joined at Sauber by Antonio Giovinazzi, who is set to replace Marcus Ericsson. Giovinazzi previously started 2 Grands Prix at the beginning of the F1 Vertical Bar 2017 season, when he replaced an injured Pascal Wehrlein at Sauber. Daniel Kvyat will rejoin Toro Rosso after last racing for the team in 2017. Calendar expansion. After purchasing the commercial rights to the sport from CVC Capital Partners, Liberty Media announced plans to expand the Formula One calendar using a concept they termed Destination Races, and modelled on the Singapore Grand Prix. Under the Destination Races model, Grands Prix would be established in or near key tourist destinations and integrate racing, entertainment, and social functions with the aim of making the sport more accessible and appealing to a wider audience. Several countries and venues, including Autodromo Juan Oscar Golves in Argentina and the TT Circuit Assen in the Netherlands and street circuits in Vietnam, Copenhagen, and several cities in the United States announced plans to bid for a Grand Prix, with 2019 slated as the earliest date for expansion to begin. On the 31st of August 2018, a provisional calendar was released with the opening round being brought forward by 1 week, and the final round being pushed back a week later, compared to 2018. Sporting regulations. Following widespread criticism of a qualifying format used in the opening rounds of the 2016 championship, the FIA and commercial rights holder Liberty Media announced plans to trial regulation changes through the Formula One esports series, which debuted in 2017 with the release of the F1 2017 video game. Technical regulations. In a bid to improve overtaking, teams agreed to a series of aerodynamic changes that affect the profile of the front and rear wings. The front wing end plates will be reshaped to alter the airflow across the car and reduce the effects of aerodynamic turbulence. The slot in the rear wing will be widened, making the drag reduction system more powerful. The agreed-upon changes were drawn from the findings of a working group set up to investigate potential changes to the technical regulations in preparation for the F1 Vertical Bar 2021 Championship. Parts of the technical regulations governing bodywork are planned to be rewritten in a bid to promote sponsorship opportunities for teams. The agreed changes are to mandate smaller barge boards and limit aerodynamic development of the rear wing end planes to create more space for sponsor logos. The changes were introduced as a response to falling revenues amid teams and the struggles of smaller teams to secure new sponsors. The mandated maximum fuel levels are due to be raised from 105 kg to 110 kg so as to minimize the need for drivers to conserve fuel during a race. Refn Vertical Bar Group NIT Vertical Bar Name Volume Vertical Bar Formula One measures fuel, oil, and engine fluids in mass rather than volume, as these fluids expand and contract when subject to heat, and as a result the volume may change. However, the mass remains the same regardless of fluid temperature. Driver weights are due to no longer be considered when measuring the minimum weight of the car. This change was agreed following concerns that drivers were being forced to lose dangerous amounts of weight in order to offset the additional weight of the post F1 Vertical Bar 2014 generation of turbo hybrid engines. Drivers must weigh at least 80 kilograms. Any driver that does not make this minimum will be given ballast to make up the difference. This ballast will be located around the seat. The changes were introduced to prevent drivers with a naturally smaller body shape from having an advantage over taller and heavier drivers. Pirelli will be simplifying their tire naming model from 7 compounds to 3 to 8 fans, understanding the tire compounds used at each round, although the actual number of compounds will remain unchanged, and the coloring of the sidewalls has yet to be decided. Driver safety. The FIA introduced a new standard for driver helmets designed to improve safety. Under the new standard, helmets will be subjected to a more thorough range of crash tests aimed at improving energy absorption and deflection whilst reducing the likelihood of objects penetrating the helmet's structure. All certified helmet manufacturers must pass the tests in advance of the 2019 championship to have their certification renewed. Once introduced to Formula One, the new standard will gradually be applied to all helmets used by competitors in every FIA-sanctioned event. Brought to you by WikiVidi Documentaries. Would you like to